on the way to the emergency room, with Ethan driving. I broke up with him. Clara, is this necessary? Vanessa just bumped into you. It's not like she didn't apologize. I touched the wound on my forehead, still seeping blood, and let out a low laugh. Yes, it is. I turned to look at the man I had loved for 8 years. Ethan, this act I'm done playing my part. The Maybach screeched to a halt. Ethan gripped the steering wheel, silent for a long moment before finally forcing out, "Is this really necessary?" Clara. I didn't answer. His voice was tight with anger. Vanessa already apologized to you. It wasn't on purpose. I stared at the streetlights passing by the window. In that second, everything suddenly felt meaningless. Ethan started to say something else, but when he turned and saw the blood on my forehead, his expression changed. Forget it. I'll take you to the hospital first. When we arrived at the hospital, I had just opened the car door when Vanessa came running over in her high heels, grabbing my hand. Clara, I'm so sorry. Ethan said you were badly hurt. Her voice was thick with tears. I went to the new house today to get Ethan's underwear for his business trip. I didn't know you were there. I really thought it was a burglar. I panicked. I smiled faintly and pulled my hand back. Save that kind of excuse for Ethan. There's no need for us to put on a show. She froze, then grabbed my arm again, making a show of kneeling. Clara, I really didn't mean to. Why don't you hit me? I'll kneel for you. The force of her pull made me stumble, and my head spun. That's enough. Clara. Ethan yanked her to her feet, his tone impatient. Vanessa is telling the truth. Can't you stop being so relentless? She called me the second she realized she'd accidentally hit you. We missed our flight because of you. Had to reschedule. And delayed our work. He paused, then frowned. Besides, if you hadn't shown up without telling anyone, she wouldn't have hit you in the first place. I looked up and stared at him. So, I deserved it. I have to check with your secretary before going to my own house. His frown deepened, just as he was about to speak. Vanessa cut in. Clara, please don't be mad at Ethan because of me. You two are getting married this weekend. I laughed out loud. Married. I turned to Ethan. The wedding is off. His expression changed instantly. What did you say? I said. The wedding is off. His voice rose. Clara, marriage isn't a game. Don't you forget. It was your grandmother who wanted to see you married before she passed. You begged me on your knees to set the date. I nodded. Yes. She's gone now, so you don't have to force yourself anymore. You're free. Ethan. His face darkened completely. You're being irrational. Clara. Please don't be like this, Vanessa pleaded, sneaking glances at Ethan's face. Ethan loosened his tie in frustration. Fine. You're not stable right now. We'll talk when you've had time to think. Their voices were like buzzing mosquitoes in my ears. My head throbbed. I have thought it through. I've never been more clear-headed. I stared at him, enunciating every word. For 8 years. You said the company was unstable, that you were too busy, too tired, that you had no time. You postponed the wedding again and again, until Grandma passed away. I looked at his impassive face and smiled. But what was the reality? You had plenty of time. Time to go skiing with her in Switzerland, whale watching at the poles, and stargazing on a tropical island. The color drained from Ethan's face. His Adam's apple bobbed. How did you? I turned to Vanessa and gave her a slight smile. Those photos you posted on social media, wasn't this the moment you were waiting for? Congratulations. You waited so long. And now your wish has come true. Then I looked back at Ethan. Ethan, let's end it here. Ethan's eyes flickered. Those trips were side activities during business travel. The clients liked those itineraries. What was I supposed to do? Seeing that I wasn't responding, he grew more impatient and reached for my arm. Clara, what is your problem? Vanessa quickly stopped him. Ethan, we're really going to miss our flight. This deal is important. She turned back to me. Clara, you should get some rest. She paused, then added, you've really misunderstood. There's nothing going on between Ethan and me. Ethan shot me a look and threw out one last cold sentence. You should learn a thing or two from Vanessa. Stop sitting at home with nothing to do, letting your imagination run wild. Then he walked away without a second glance. A few minutes later, Maya burst in like a hurricane. The moment she saw the bandage on my forehead, her eyes turned red. Damn it. That bastard just left you alone at the hospital like this. She rushed over and threw her arms around me. Clara, Did you really hit your head that hard? What's so great about that scumbag? I sniffled and forced a smile. Well, he couldn't exactly leave half of me behind. Right. That would be terrifying. Oh, shut up. She rolled her eyes at me. Your smile is uglier than you're crying right now. I stopped smiling, and my eyes began to sting. Maya noticed my prolonged silence and tried to break the tension. All right, so it's one man. There are plenty of good men out there. You should have kicked him to the curb ages ago. I told you so many times, but you never listened. I let out a soft I'm listening to you this time. I broke up with him. She froze. For real? I nodded. She immediately exploded like a firecracker. Is it because of that witch? Vanessa. I knew something was off the moment she joined your company. The way her eyes stuck to him. Anyone could see what she wanted. How could you not have noticed? I didn't speak, just stared at the ceiling, suddenly recalling all the details I had deliberately ignored. Our 8 years together, when did it all start to go sour? It seemed to begin the day he hired Vanessa. She was an intern who couldn't even read a contract properly and messed up reimbursement forms 3 times. Ethan would scold her until she was red in the face. But despite his words, he kept her on, teaching her step by step, eventually making her his personal assistant. Back then, I was foolish enough to drop hints. She seems to like you a lot. He would just laugh and put his arm around my shoulder. You're overthinking things. Maya stamped her foot in frustration. You never should have listened to him. All that talk about avoiding office gossip and having you take care of the family. The moment you left, that witch slid right into your position, didn't she? That year, Ethan worked overnight for days on end and collapsed on the sofa the moment he got home. I was terrified and rushed him to the hospital. The doctor said it was due to too many business dinners and that he had stomach problems. For him, I, who had never cooked, learned how to make nourishing soups and healthy meals online. Eventually, I quit my job at the company to take care of him full-time. I knew Maya was right, but back then, how could I have ever imagined this would be the outcome? Maya was about to continue her tirade when she turned and suddenly fell silent. My face was streaked with tears, but my eyes were empty, and I hadn't made a sound. What's wrong? Her voice softened. Does the wound hurt? I nodded and sniffled. It hurts. The next second, the floodgates broke. I clung to her and sobbed, my voice trembling, crying so hard I could barely breathe. But Maya didn't know. It wasn't the wound that hurt the most. It was my heart. During the days I spent recovering, Ethan sent messages every day. At first, they were cold and accusatory. Clara, I'm very disappointed in you. When we get back, you owe Vanessa an apology. She's not the kind of person you think she is. Later, he must have sensed my silence, because his tone began to change. Forget it. You're not well right now. I won't hold it against you. The client today was difficult. I drank a lot, and my stomach hurts. I'm craving the porridge you make. Our wedding is this weekend. Don't overthink things. Maya, worried I would have a relapse, stayed with me almost every day. I have to keep an eye on you, in case you have a moment of weakness. So we lounged on the sofa, scrolling through short videos to pass the time. At first, it was lighthearted. We watched street interviews with couples, and Maya cackled while eating chips, until the next video popped up. Maya's hand froze. A second later, she slammed the tablet shut. It's nothing. I reopened the tablet. I saw it. In the video, Ethan was wearing a navy blue color-blocked t-shirt, and Vanessa was in the matching women's version. They stood side by side, looking naturally intimate. The host held a microphone and asked with a smile, "Are you two a couple? You look so perfect together." Vanessa covered her mouth and giggled, saying softly, No, we're just regular friends." Though she said regular, her eyes were glued to Ethan's face, as if conveying 1,000 unspoken words. Ethan looked down and smiled slightly. He didn't answer, but he didn't deny it either. The comments exploded. Regular friends wear matching outfits. Textbook green tea. Serious question. Do men really not see this stuff? Seeing this, Maya erupted. Even strangers online can see what that witch Vanessa is up to. Is that scumbag brainless? I leaned back against the sofa, tilted my head up, and blinked, forcing back the wave of emotion. It's not that he doesn't know, I said, my voice hoarse and low. He's just enjoying it. My phone suddenly buzzed. It was a call from Ethan. I stared at the screen for a few seconds before finally swiping to answer. His hushed, questioning voice came through immediately. Why haven't you been answering my messages? Clara, I'm telling you for the last time. There's nothing between Vanessa and me. I cut him off. I already told you. Ethan, we're over. Who you're with and what you do has nothing to do with me. My tone clearly agitated him. He was silent for a couple of seconds. Then his voice turned cold again. How long are you going to keep this up? With that temper of yours? I'm the only one who could ever put up with you. I let out a soft laugh. Then don't. I don't want to put up with you anymore. Either. Because I find you disgusting. The moment the words left my mouth, I hung up before he could react. My fingers flew, blocking his number, his social media, every form of contact, clean and decisive. Almost simultaneously, a text message alert chimed. Miss Clara, your wedding is this weekend. Would like to confirm when you'll be coming to pick up your gown. I paused for 2 seconds, then replied, tomorrow. The next day, I went to the wedding planning company. The receptionist stood up with a smile. Miss Clara, are you here to cancel the wedding? She froze, her hands stopping mid-motion. But, before she could finish, a side door was pushed open. Ethan and Vanessa walked out together, followed by my wedding planner, who looked at me with an embarrassed expression. Miss Clara, Mr. Cole just instructed us that there will be a new bride on the wedding day. I raised an eyebrow, my gaze sweeping over them with derision. Ethan opened his mouth, as if wanting to say something. I cut him off with a cold smile. No need to explain. He frowned, his tone sharp. Clara, can you stop being so sarcastic all the time? I looked at him, my voice dripping with mockery. Don't get me wrong. I'm sincerely congratulating you. A match made in heaven. Ethan's face turned ugly, while Vanessa couldn't suppress the smirk on her lips. In the next moment, my eyes locked onto something. Peeking out from under Vanessa's coat was the familiar red fabric of a skirt. I lunged forward and ripped open her coat. It was my wedding gown. The golden thread that once outlined the pattern of a phoenix spreading its wings was now wrinkled and frayed. Several pearl buttons on the bodice were missing. Vanessa, stunned, tried to pull her coat shut, explaining defensively, Clara, don't be angry. It's my fault for having such a good figure. I was just trying it on. I didn't expect the quality to be so poor. I stared at her, saying nothing, seeing my face grow colder. Her eyes actually reddened as she stammered, or I can just pay you back for it. Ethan immediately stepped in front of her. Clara, you blocked me and won't answer my calls. Doesn't that mean you don't want to get married? The invitations have all been sent. Your backing out now is meant to humiliate me publicly, isn't it? If it weren't for Vanessa being so understanding and willing to step in for you, I wouldn't know how to handle this mess. She only tried on your gown for your own good, so stop being unreasonable. Besides, Clara, it's just a dress. Do you really need to be this dramatic? I lifted my eyes and stared at him. That was my grandmother. She sewed it, stitch by stitch, before she died. On her deathbed, she was still murmuring about wanting to see me wear it on my wedding day. I spoke each word deliberately, my eyes like ice. And now you say it's just a dress. Ethan frowned, about to speak, but he was too late. I shot my hand out, grabbed a handful of Vanessa's long hair, and dragged her out from behind him. You want to pay me back? I gritted my teeth, a storm of fury raging in my eyes. Fine. Pay with your life. I kicked her hard in the stomach, and she cried out as she fell to her knees. Clara, are you insane? Ethan roared, rushing forward and shoving me back. Thud. My forehead hit the corner of a table. The fresh bandage was instantly soaked with a patch of red. But he didn't even look at me. He turned to help Vanessa up, his face filled with concern. I used the table to slowly pull myself up, my fingertips brushing against a heavy paperweight. With a cold laugh, I snatched it and hurled it at the damn pair. Vanessa screamed. Ethan shielded her, and the paperweight grazed his shoulder before shattering on the floor. I'm insane. Let me tell you something. Ethan, this is what insane looks like. This isn't over for either of you today. Vanessa tried to step forward, but she met my icy gaze and faltered, a flicker of fear in her eyes. Ethan frowned impatiently. Clara, what exactly do you want today? I slowly turned my head, my voice cold. Originally, I just wanted to cancel the wedding, but since you pushed me too far, don't blame me for what happens next. Just then, The main door was thrown open with a bang. Maya had arrived. Seeing the fresh blood seeping through my bandage, she instantly exploded. Ethan. Maya was practically roaring with rage. Clara just got a concussion because of your little tramp. You knew that, and you dare to touch her again. Only then did Ethan notice the blood on my forehead. His face fell, and he instinctively reached out to steady me. I took a cold step back, avoiding his touch. Vanessa caught this out of the corner of her eye, and her face twisted, her breathing becoming ragged. She was trembling with anger but didn't dare confront me directly, so she glared at me with clenched teeth. Then, she turned and directed her fury at Maya, screaming hysterically, "What business is it of yours what happens between Ethan and me? Stay out of it." Maya sneered, her reply calm and measured. "I haven't named any names, but you jumped right in. Quite self-aware, aren't you?" Enraged, Vanessa lunged at her, trying to pull her hair. Slap. Maya swung her hand back and slapped her across the face. "I've been waiting to do that for a long time," she said, her voice sharp. "Since you came looking for trouble, don't blame me for being impolite." The slap sent Vanessa stumbling back. She clutched her face, unsteady on her feet, tears instantly welling in her eyes. Ethan roared, "Maya, that's enough." He moved as if to rush forward, but before he could raise his hand, I had already grabbed a glass decoration from the table and smashed it on the floor. Glass shattered everywhere. I bent down, picked up the sharpest piece, and raised it, pointing it straight at his chest. My voice was like ice. "You dare touch my friend, and see what happens." The air seemed to freeze. Ethan was stunned, a look of disbelief in his eyes, as if he had never seen me like this before. Maya, however, glanced at me, her eyes bright as if remembering something amusing. Well, it's been a while since I've seen this side of you." The sound of footsteps echoed from outside, and several uniformed police officers walked in quickly. The lead officer's eyes sharpened, first scanning the broken glass on the floor, then landing on the shard in my hand. His expression immediately became guarded. He asked in a deep voice, "Sir, are you being threatened or harmed?" Ethan instinctively stepped in front of me, blocking their view. His lips moved, but in the end, he said, "No, it's all a misunderstanding." The words had barely left his mouth when Vanessa threw herself forward. Tears streamed down her face like broken pearls as she sobbed. "Officer, they ganged up on me. They hit me, I didn't do anything. And they started cursing at me, hitting me, and smashing glass to scare me. I'm so scared." She pointed at Maya and me, playing the victim perfectly. "You can ask the staff if you don't believe me. The two of them hit me several times." The officer's face tensed. He turned to the others present. "Can anyone explain what happened?" There was a moment of silence. The wedding shop employees standing nearby hesitated for a second, then spoke up. I don't think Miss Clara was in the wrong." The officer looked at her. "And you are?" "I'm an employee here." She swallowed hard. The wedding planner also stepped forward, gritting his teeth. "That's right, officer. We were here the whole time. They were the ones who came here to cause trouble. Miss Clara only came to cancel her wedding and was provoked. They were being completely unreasonable." Hearing this, Vanessa's eyes turned red. "You're lying. You're only saying that because she paid you." The employee cut her off coldly. "Miss, that's an inappropriate thing to say. We have security cameras in the shop. It'll be obvious who started it. Besides, I told you before that this gown wasn't from our shop. It's Miss Clara's personal property and you couldn't touch it. You were the one who insisted on trying it on and broke the zipper, forcing it." The planner also snorted. "I've been in the wedding business for 10 years. And this is the first time I've seen someone bring his mistress to assault the bride 2 days before the wedding. If that's not bullying, what is?" After hearing the testimonies, the officer's expression softened. "It seems like there have been misunderstandings on both sides. Let's leave it at that for today. It would be best for everyone to reconcile." "Reconcile?" Vanessa was aghast, stomping her foot with red-rimmed eyes. "That's not fair. She slandered me, defamed me, and hit me. Arrest her." I couldn't help but laugh, as if I'd just heard the world's funniest joke. "Vanessa, drop the poor victim act. We all know who's slandering whom. Are you going to deny that you wanted to replace me and marry Ethan?" Vanessa was speechless, her eyes darting around in panic. I casually added another blow. "And if you really feel I assaulted you and you're so wronged, then go to a hospital. Don't worry. It'll cover the medical bills. Ahem. A nearby officer cleared his throat to mediate. Since the issue of medical bills has been resolved, there's not much else to this. He paused, looked at Ethan, and offered a veiled warning. Marriage is a matter of free will, but a person should still have some morals and decency. Don't give people a reason to talk. Ethan's face became instantly grim, seeing me completely unscathed. Vanessa went berserk. She grabbed an officer's arm and shrieked incoherently. You can't leave. She's crazy. She'll actually kill me. Her mother was mentally ill, and so is she. When she loses it, she's capable of anything. The air turned cold. Everyone's eyes fell on me. Ethan's face changed dramatically. He turned and roared. Vanessa, what nonsense are you talking? Maya exploded. What the hell did you just say? But I felt as if I'd lost my voice. Frozen in place. My gaze fixed on Ethan. I didn't think she'd even know about that. I said, my voice light but sharp. You really don't keep any secrets from her, do you? He panicked. It wasn't me. I never mentioned. It doesn't matter. I cut him off with a faint smile. I turned to Vanessa, my eyes cold and heavy. Yes, I am. So what? Since you know I'm the daughter of a mentally ill woman, you should be more careful. After all, who knows when I might snap? My tone was calm, but my gaze was like a blade piercing her heart. Vanessa's face went white. She shrank back, and in the next second, she turned to run. But I grabbed her arm. Trying to run, I sneered. We haven't settled the score for the gown yet. She screamed in terror, struggling wildly. I'll pay. Okay, I'll pay. I let her go, my voice cool. Fine. 880,000. In my account by tomorrow. Vanessa looked as if she'd been struck by lightning, her eyes wide. What did you say? She spun around to look at Ethan, her voice shrill. Ethan, did you hear that? She's deliberately trying to make things difficult for me. I just tried it on, and now she's extorting me. I slowly tilted my head, looking first at her, then at Ethan. My lips curved into a smile, but my tone was chillingly calm. This wedding gown was hand-embroidered, stitch by stitch, by my grandmother before she passed away. Tell me, is it not worth 880,000? Ethan's expression visibly stiffened for a few seconds before he finally spoke in a low voice. Transfer the money to Clara's account tomorrow. Ethan. Vanessa stared at him in disbelief. I gave a cold laugh. How rare, Mr. Cole. The first time you've ever taken my side. With that, I took Maya's hand and turned to leave without a backward glance. We had just stepped outside when Ethan caught up to us. Clara. About your mother, I swear I didn't tell her. I never wanted to hurt you. I didn't stop walking or turn around. So what? You should go back and comfort your little bride. Mr. Cole. I said softly. After all, you two are getting married tomorrow. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, wiping the blood from my forehead, while Maya paced back and forth, fuming. Damn it. If I had known Ethan was such a scumbag, you never should have saved him all those years ago. You gave him so much, and this is what you get in return. I lowered my eyes, dabbing antiseptic on the wound as if I couldn't feel the sting. Let it go, Maya. It's not worth getting angry over someone like him, I said softly, my voice laced with an indescribable exhaustion. I was 10 when my mother, distraught over my father's affair, cut him with a fruit knife before ending her own life in the bathtub. My father didn't come to her funeral. He only left a letter. I'm not raising you. I'm afraid you'll turn out like your mother and stick a knife in me one day. He left and never came back. I was sent to live with my grandmother, who told me I wasn't an unloved child. But for years, no one wanted to play with me, and teachers always watched me with wary eyes. I got into fights, skipped class, and wore a permanent mask of indifference. One day, I saw a few thugs beating up a boy in an alley. He was clutching his backpack, refusing to let go. I rushed in and drove them off. The boy looked up, his face bruised and swollen, but he smiled like the sun. Thank you. I'm Ethan. What's your name? I took him back to my grandmother's, cleaned his wounds, and made him a bowl of porridge. As he ate, he said, "You're the coolest girl I've ever met." Years later, when we met again, he was in a suit, standing before a floor-to-ceiling window. He handed me a bouquet of sunflowers and said, "Clara, I like you. Be my girlfriend." I hesitated. I was afraid I would end up like my mother, Destroyed by love. Worse, I was afraid of destroying him. But he took my hand and said, "I'm not your father. I won't leave you. I'll protect you for the rest of my life." I believed him. Thinking back on it now, it's laughable. Maya sat on the sofa, took a swig of her drink, and cursed through clenched teeth. He's a monster in human skin. No, he's worse than a monster. I curved my lips into a smile and clinked my glass against hers. To the scumbag. May he have a happy marriage. We drank all night, until the sun came up. When I woke up the next day, 2 bank transfer notifications had popped up on my phone. One for $880,000, with the note, "Gown compensation." The other was from Ethan, $5 million, with only 3 short words. "I am sorry." I stared at the screen for a few seconds, my finger tracing the numbers, a mocking smile slowly spreading across my face. Maya leaned over and glanced at it, her eyes widening. "Holy crap, $5 million. Clara, don't you dare do anything stupid. Don't send it back." I slipped the phone into my pocket. "Don't worry, I've earned it." I expected Vanessa to plaster her wedding all over social media. The diamond ring, the white dress, and Ethan, standing at the end of the aisle. But before she could post anything, I heard the news. Ethan had run out on his own wedding. Apparently, on the big day, Vanessa was in her makeup and gown, waiting backstage. When the officiant announced, "Will the groom please welcome his bride?" everyone grew excited. Everyone except Ethan, who stood frozen at the head of the aisle. He was looking down at the bouquet of sunflowers in his hands. They were my favorite flower. I had even chosen them for my bridal bouquet, a symbol of devotion, passion, and resilience. He once said they were just like me. Vanessa finally couldn't take it anymore. She hurried up to him, grabbed his arm, and hissed, "Ethan, what's wrong with you? All the guests are watching." He looked up at her, his eyes momentarily blank, as if waking from a dream. After a few seconds of silence, he finally said in a low voice, "I can't do it. I thought she could be replaced, but I can't." With that, he shook her hand off and turned to leave. The entire venue was in an uproar. The business partners, elders, and guests seated below all stood up. Some were whispering, others were raising their phones. Vanessa's face went pale. She grabbed him frantically. "Ethan, are you insane? Do you know how many people are watching you? You're humiliating the company, me, your parents, everyone." She gritted her teeth, suppressing her fury. "Even if you're still thinking about Clara, you could at least get through the ceremony first and then stop talking." Ethan's voice was hoarse as he forcefully pulled his hand away. He loosened his tie, unbuttoning his shirt as if stripping away every layer of pretense and compromise, and walked down the aisle without looking back. The wedding photographers hadn't shut off their cameras, and the scene was captured by guests, spreading across the internet that night and trending by morning. Groom abandons wedding at the altar, unable to forget X. The internet was filled with mockery. Maya saw the video and nearly choked with laughter. She called me immediately. "Clara, you have to see this. That dog Ethan has lost his mind. He actually ditched the mistress at the altar. Haha. He's tried calling me from 4 different numbers these past few days, and even tried to add me on social media to find out where you are." I blocked them all. I held the phone, my voice calm. "Forget about people like him. That's the spirit." Maya loudly agreed. Let him have a taste of regret. After hanging up, I put my phone away and went back to sorting through the fabrics for wedding gowns. I had converted my grandmother's old shop into a studio called Clara's Stitches, specializing in custom, traditional handmade wedding gowns. At first, I just wanted to continue my grandmother's craft, but I unexpectedly went viral with a photo of a restored vintage gown. In the photo, the gown hung by a window, its gold and silver threads rearranged. The snags and tears had been mended stitch by stitch, and the embroidery even had a new layer of delicate detail. Someone commented, "This is a gown with a soul. Every stitch is filled with emotion." Ethan must have seen the photo somewhere. He stared at it, his fingers tracing the patterns on the screen. But I didn't expect him to show up so soon. He was standing outside my studio one evening as I was closing up. His suit was wrinkled, his eyes dull. "Clara, can we talk?" I didn't answer, just kept wiping down the tables, not looking up. He stood there for a while, then said, I didn't marry Vanessa that day. I let out a short laugh. I know. Social media was all over it. Cole Corp CEO cancels wedding. Bride left in tears. Quite the spectacle. He opened his mouth, as if to explain, but in the end, all he said was, I was wrong. Oh. I finished wiping the last pane of glass and locked the door. As long as you know that. I started to walk away, deliberately sidestepping him, but he asked in a low voice, what can I do to make you forgive me? I stopped and turned to look at him, my expression serene. If you truly want to atone, then stay out of my life. If you do that, I'll consider you forgiven. His expression froze. The step he was about to take seemed to turn to ice, and he stood there, speechless. A few days later, an explosive post appeared online. My ex is a psycho who stole my fiancé and plays the victim. It's disgusting. The post included maliciously edited clips from our confrontation at the wedding planners, cutting out the parts where they tried on my gown and where he injured me, but keeping the footage of me losing my temper and smashing things. The caption read, she used her past relationship with Ethan to crash the wedding preparations and cause a scene. Now that the wedding is canceled, she's reinventing herself as an influencer. The top comments were vicious. People like her are experts at faking it. She's the one who is seducing him, but she's playing the victim. Shameless. The other woman is trying to rebrand herself. My comment sections were flooded. The studio's phone line was bombarded with hate calls. Even clients who had ordered gowns called hesitantly. Miss Clara, about what's been online recently, it's not true, is it? I explained. Again and again, through a splitting headache. But some people still called just to harass me, spewing filth. Someone came to the shop and threw a bucket of red paint on the front door. The words Clara's stitches were drowned in the glaring red. When Maya found out, she was furious over the phone. Clara, why didn't you tell me? Are you crazy? Why are you handling this alone? I'm flying over right now. I leaned back in my chair, my voice soft. Don't come. You're busy with work. I'm fine. I can handle this. The next morning, the front of the shop was spotless. Not a drop of red paint remained. There were 2 new potted plants by the door. I stared, stunned. The owner of the shop next door leaned against his door frame and glanced at me. You shouldn't have to deal with things like this alone. Let me know if you need help. I was a bit surprised. He didn't seem like the type to get involved. I asked tentatively, what's your name? He paused, as if thinking. Before he answered, Julian. When he said the name, he glanced at me, as if waiting for a reaction. But I just nodded politely. Thank you, Mr. Dean. An unreadable emotion flickered in his eyes. He lowered his gaze, his voice flat. My shop is right next door. Call me if you need anything. Overnight, the tide of online opinion shifted. Ethan finally spoke up, releasing a statement on his company's official account. It was accompanied by an old photo of us and a timeline of our relationship. The cancellation of the wedding was not a sudden development. It was the result of my failure to honor my 8-year relationship with Clara. Vanessa was never my official girlfriend, only my secretary, and she has since been dismissed. As for Clara, my apology can never be enough to make up for the pain I caused. The internet was in an uproar. Vanessa's past was quickly dug up. Someone found the old street interview clip where she claimed to be just a regular friend. Didn't you say you were just friends? How did it suddenly become, I'm the real girlfriend? She's the other woman. Has a single true word ever come out of your mouth? The topic trended for 3 days. The comments under Vanessa's social media posts were a disaster. She first tried to blame a friend for accidentally posting the attack piece out of a misguided attempt to stand up for her, begging for understanding. But people weren't fools, and she was ridiculed again. At the same time, Ethan's company was also affected. In the wake of the scandal, partners terminated their contracts. The stock price plummeted, and public pressure was immense. He was forced to sell his shares, and Cole Corp changed ownership. I thought it was finally over, until the day I received a booking request. The client claimed to be deaf-mute and requested an in-person consultation. I didn't think much of it and scheduled it for the following afternoon. She arrived wearing a wide-brimmed hat, sunglasses, and a mask, and didn't say a word. I was taking her measurements with a tape measure. As I turned to grab my notebook, I caught a glint of cold steel in the mirror's reflection. I spun around, grabbing her wrist, knocking the knife from her hand, and slamming her down onto the table. Then, I ripped off her hat and mask. Unsurprisingly, it was Vanessa. I kicked her in the knee, watching as she cried out and collapsed, crawling weakly on the floor. I slowly pulled a fabric-cutting rotary blade from the table and stabbed it into the space between her fingers. The blade vibrated, its edge almost touching her skin. I laughed softly. Didn't Ethan ever tell you? I grew up fighting, playing with knives against me. You're not even in my league. Her face was ashen, and she trembled uncontrollably. Besides, I leaned down, my gaze icy. You already know I'm the daughter of a mentally ill woman. You should know these things can be genetic. Just then, footsteps sounded at the door. Julian pushed it open and walked in with a calm smile. You're just the same as you've always been. Clean and decisive. My eyes narrowed slightly. We've met before. He walked over slowly and looked down at Vanessa on the floor. No rush. Take your time to remember. The police arrived soon after and took Vanessa away. This time, Ethan didn't protect her. Instead, he hired a top lawyer to assist the police in securing a heavy sentence. A few days later, I received another bank transfer notification. From Ethan. 50 million. Exactly. The note was just a single line. Thank you for everything you did for me over the years. This was always rightfully yours. I'm sorry it took me so long to understand. I stared at the words for a long time before finally dialing the number I had long since blocked. He answered almost immediately, as if afraid I would change my mind. His voice was choked and urgent. Clara, is that you? I have so much I want to say to you. I cut him off, my voice flat. Ethan, this is the last time I will ever contact you. I just wanted to tell you, for me, Clara, what's rightfully mine, no one can take away. But what I no longer want, I will never look back for.